So I've got a healthy number of sloes, and there are still quite a few on the tree. And I'm thinking about what I'm going to do with this in the future, because I have been trimming the trees, training them slightly, pruning them. And this is an example of why. So underneath here, we have, let's see, quite a lot of tree under the grass. Grass is choking it. It might be putting down roots, in which case it'll just start to have shoots and so on. But it does create lots of opportunities for disease and rot to settle in, and that can work its way back to the main trunk of the tree and kill it. And I also have a feeling that this sort of growth deters berry creation. So on this part of the tree, there are no berries, no sloes. So the first thing to do is to cut out low branches which are being eaten. If you want to, you can dig them out and then keep them above the ground somehow. I've done that sometimes. But then also most of these low branches, they aren't doing it any favours because they get covered in grass quite early on. A little bit like this one's covered in grass. So if you want to stop it getting covered in grass, then you need to really cut up to about 3 feet, 1 metre in this area, because the grass can get up to waist height. Over here you can see a different example of why to cut it down. Cut out the lower branches because the bracken gets up around it. There are things you can do to keep the bracken down, like over here. So all we did during the summer is just walk in circles around this and step down the bracken. So it's rotted and it's kept this tree free and healthy. So back to the pruning. One other thing to look out for is to keep it around about head height. This one here is, there's no point really in having any branches above that height. For me anyway. So cutting low does a service for the tree, cutting high does a service for me. And if we look at the branches, then you can see that they grow in amongst each other. Sloe blackthorn is really a shrub, quite a dense shrub, which is why it's used in hedges and so on. But for a healthy tree, you want to have as little, dead matter. There's some dead matter. You want as little as few leaves as possible, which aren't doing anything useful. So in this tree, I could really cut out 50% or more of the branches, which would mean there'd be 50% less leaves, but I'd probably receive about 80 or 90% of the original light. So for a 50% investment, it gets 80% back. So it's good for the tree. And a little bit of pruning does seem to encourage the growth of the fruit. I've heard people say this in the past. I'm slightly skeptical, but we'll see. I haven't had any training really, just loads of tips from interested amateurs. And in fairness, quite a bit of experimentation in here in the last 10 years or so. But I know some people are an advocate of this idea that nature knows best, and that let a tree do what a tree does, because it knows how to do tree things better than we do. But what a tree is particularly good at doing is turning water and air into wood, into cellulose, carbohydrates of all descriptions. I can't make this into a sugar, but I can turn the sugars into bone and muscle and flesh and thoughts. So, and observations. So the way a tree grows, you have the tips at the end, and these are growth tips, and they send back chemicals down along here, and then that'll tell the tree to send more nutrients and it'll grow. But this is a diffusion property, and diffusion is very reliable, but it's not very efficient necessarily. So this, like here, we have 3 branches. It's not necessarily optimal. The tree doesn't know where it's going to go. It doesn't know which one of these branches is going to find light. It doesn't know that this one here perhaps will have a fantastic return on investment of energy and leaves and plant matter, and even in fairness risk of death versus, if it gets infected. versus this one here, which is growing into the tree, and it's just it won't have much airflow around it. The leaves won't get much light. So, but it doesn't know when it starts to grow here which one's going to be useful and which one's going to be not useful. So the idea with this is when you're chopping stuff out, yes, you're doing stuff for yourself, but you're also doing stuff for the tree. So it's not a zero-sum game. It's, you know, we're all in this together.